Can you guys hear me? I'm just trying my microphone on. I think it's gonna be working. So for those who are going to join later or to watch the live later, I'm gonna leave here in the chat my website with the calculator in case if you wanna follow the graphics along to my analysis. Yeah, let me just put it over here. I'm gonna pin. So, yeah. Hi, Gloria. Nice to see you here. I hope you had a good Trecena, the Junajpu Trecena. How was it for you? And hello everyone arriving. Just gonna give a few minutes. So to let more people come. Hello Marcus. I don't know what you mean by that, like king. Yeah, I think you are referring to another calendar, Aq'ab'al's calendar. Which is a completely different idea than the original Maya calendar. But in here you can learn how to follow the Chorkir. Also, if you'd like to know your novel, that is I just pinned a message about of my website that is in the calculator, so you can use that to find your novel. Then if you want, you can share here. So I will start now. So as usual, before I start today's analysis, I'm gonna recap. I'm gonna rewind a little bit so we can talk a little bit about the previous Trecena, which was the Oshlahu Junajpu, the 13 Conqueror Sun Trecena, that along with the sunset when resting, and now with the sunset it starts to rise in Imox along with the Oshlahu Trecena, which is the Trecena we are going to be analyzing in this live. So the past Trecena, the Oshlahu Junajpu, the 13 Conqueror Sun Trecena, was the Trecena that we spoke about the big battle. The big battle to conquer our fears, or the big battle that we go through to make things shine. Just to keep our fertility, to keep our things going. Depending on how things went for you, if that Trecena was a good one, like if you were able to conquer the stuff that you had to do, just to keep the fertility going. This one, we will start a new flow that may be requiring some changes, a new flow that we can stabilize along the way. But if it was a Trecena where you fell for the fake glow, or you just like encountering the traitor, so this one can be also maybe the Trecena where you find like possibilities to change your path. You know, maybe you can start something anew. Just like the past Trecena, when we were talking about Junajpu, we follow the metaphor of the seed that goes to the darkness of the underground and needs to fight to rise up as a flower. It's the same metaphor that we talk about as the warrior. The warrior, just like the warrior that needs to go to the battle, like he's been preparing, but he has the fear, so he needs to go there and to conquer there to find the glory. There are some aspects of Junajpu. That's why we call them the Conqueror Sun. Just like when the sun goes down, it goes to face the darkness in the sunset. So he needs to rise until he hits the zenith, like until he shines again for us. So that's why we are talking about this battle to conquer the darkness. Or Junajpu is also connected when we want to bring a beauty into something, because Junajpu is the glowing sun, you know, like is the one that, you know, brings the beauty. Like if you are working on a project, Junajpu represents when you start working to make that shine. You know, you want to make the project beautiful. So these are some aspects of Junajpu. But also Junajpu talks about, you know, like when you surrender to the fear, like when you lose all the fertility because of that, because you weren't able to handle all the battle. Just like as I mentioned, maybe you could have fallen for the false glow. And that's one of the aspects. One thing that I would like to highlight, that like I was following the news from this Trecena, I don't know if you was aware of what happened in the USA with the Silicon Bank. Like in this Trecena, in the past Trecena, we went through the now Aq'ab'al 7 Jaguar. We talked about, remember, about finances. We talk about making the savings, but it's also the now that represents the financial collapse. So in this Trecena, where, you know, the thing happening to the Silicon Bank is completely connected to what happened to Aq'ab'al, the representation. Like when we weren't able to conquer the battle, we lose all the fertility, and that's why, you know, the bank closed. So these are some aspects of the past Trecena. So, and now for this Trecena, we're going to be analyzing the Oshlahu Trecena. Now the Trecena that we're going to be shifting is going to be talking about the transformation. But now every time we talk about transformation, we don't talk about, you know, like this positive aspects that, you know, the word transformation will sound like, oh, it's beautiful, it's transforming. Now we're gonna be talking about those aspects when you are feeling incomplete, you know, maybe you don't fit to a path anymore, so you need to transform. So it's a more like, you know, those heavy aspects, you know, of life that you have to deal with, you know, you cannot escape from that. But that can make you bitter. You know, that sounds like a day, or a cloudy day, you know, that you don't see the shine of the sun. Just like after we conquer a battle, you know, it's not like the final point. So the sun will continue to enter into battle. So we need to conquer the darkness again. So it's about the constancy that we need to keep doing to make our projects, our personal lives going. So we need to face out some challenging moments, you know, some moments that we sometimes we haven't thought about it when we start the path, like when we were fighting the battle. It's like we haven't thought about like what's gonna come next to that. So every time like the sun hits zenith, is going to fall down. So, and that's we're going to be talking about, that you're going to be having to transform again, to go through the incompleteness, to the incomplete aspects of the stuff that we are doing. And so that's the stuff that we're going to be talking about in this Trecena. So the changes that are going to be recurring to make. So now, no, mate, you are confusing the calendar. Like, you are probably following the Arguelles calendar. This is a different idea. We are talking here about the Maya calendar. This is the Trecena. So in this Trecena, like if you go to my website and search for the next day, because remember the days starts are after the sunset. Search for the next day so you can see the graphics of this today's Trecena. And I have a video talking about, I'm not going to be repeating here, talking about how we see the Trecena. Is always, we picture the number 13 as the ruler of the Trecena. So I have videos talking about that, so maybe later you can watch that. So in this Trecena, we're going to be talking about these big changes, as I was referring. These big changes that can put us into transformation, that can put us into these bitter sensations. And depending on how things go, now we're going to be starting with Imox, 1 water. So after we face the battle, depending on how things go, we can start anew. So Imox will represent the beginning of a new flow, or the beginning of a new injection of force. So if you got the shine of the fertility, so now you got a new force to inject to keep your constancy, to keep transforming, to keep going on with what is incomplete again. But if you ended up losing the fertility, maybe now you can find a new strength or a new flow to find a different path. Maybe you realize that wasn't the path you really wanted to walk. So now you can find new ways to find a new path. So Imox comes with this new flow that you can follow, a new injection of force that you can apply to follow this new path. So, and the goal of this Trecena is for us to stabilize, this flow. Stabilize this flow so you can keep, being constant with the things we are doing, so we won't give up. So 2 Trecenas ago, we accumulated strength for the big battle of the past Trecena. So now we need to have this strength to continue with the flow. And Imox can be a tricky now. This can be a tricky Trecena because it leads with this kind of not very comfortable stuff. As I said, like it looks like a flow that's kind of hard to stabilize. And so, because Imox is not an owl that you can control. It looks like a tsunami. It can keep you just flowing to where you need to go, but sometimes can go against you. That's why it's connected to craziness. So Imox is also connected with the collective consciousness, where like we all share, like where we all draw like all our ideas from, like the sea of ideas, that's everybody shares that. And can be a dangerous now because sometimes if you are not focused on the flow you like to follow, if you are not focused on the things that you like to continue on, like you can be driven by different things that can put you into many different directions that you won't complete any of them. So that's the dangerous part of Imox that we're starting in this Trecena. So with this Trecena we're going to be accumulating changes. So we need to be focused on the flow we gotta go. And that's one thing, like now number 1 doesn't have a lot of strength. It's just like the spring. It's a spring of water looking for a path. So it could be a day for you to start seeing the stuff that you gotta do, like what you gotta pay attention, what kind of flow you'd like to follow. So you need to stay, focused, you need to stay like open only for the stuff like that are relevant to the path you like to walk. Just like if you are open to so many stuff, for example, the Instagram ads, or you watching too much TV, or just paying attention about what the other people are saying to you, maybe that stuff can add to this confusion. Just like Imox can be like a wave of many different ideas where you can misinterpret things, so it can lead you already, to a madness. And that's what we need to avoid from the beginning of this Trecena, because it's a very unstable Trecena. So the more we keep the focus, on the flow that you gotta walk, like the things that you need to inject force on, the better. So if you have a project that is going on, so try to use the Imox that started right now after the sunset, only to feed yourself with things that is going to be adding to the stuff that you're doing. Try to avoid everything else, especially in this Trecena. If you need to learn some skills in this Trecena, use Imox to say, okay, I can use that. So try to be more centered as possible on the flow you like to maintain this Trecena. So remember, the goal of this Trecena is to stabilize the flow that we're starting right now, so we can keep being constant with the things, with the transformations. Again, for those who are arriving to the live right now, after the Trecena of the big battle, after we conquer, maybe we got the glory. Now our task is just keep constant, because the battle doesn't end right there. There is always something that comes next. So Imox is the day, to see what kind of new flow you are starting. And then we move to Aq'ab'al, to wind. Now 2 is the now of the retraction. If the now 1 is the now of the spring of water that's looking for a path but doesn't have a lot of strength. So now now 2 is the retraction of the water, so you can accumulate before you open the path with more flow, with more energy. And now Aq'ab'al is the now of the insufflation of life, is the impulse, is the now of the romanticism or being bold. So now that we know, like we set the flow that we gotta walk, now we can retract to calculate what do we need to do to keep this flow going on, or just to give an impulse. Like a good example of Aq'ab'al will be just like when you're accumulating air, just like you are just pushing back before you blow that, just to push things forward, for you to inject life, for you to start flowing with that. So it's a day for you to calculate like what the stuff that you need to do just to give life to the stuff you gotta do, maybe to your projects, for the stuff that you are enthusiastic. So Aq'ab'al is the day to make these calculations for you to keep constant with your tasks, with the things that you gotta do. Otherwise, now Aq'ab'al can be the now where you're gonna be trapped, with your tensions, because if you lost a battle in the past Trecena, things didn't went right for you, like maybe you fell for your fears, like you weren't able to conquer your fears in the past Trecena. So maybe now you're gonna be exploding because you're gonna be having tantrums, because that's the spirit of the now Aq'ab'al. So Aq'ab'al is the day for you to calculate, the impulse that you gotta do to push things forward, to give life to this. Or it doesn't matter if things work, or not in the past Trecena. We can always start anew, but we always need to calculate well. So Aq'ab'al is a day to be careful to not explode, to be aware of your emotions, to practice some self-control. And then we're gonna move to Aq'ab'al, 3, clarity. Now 3 is the water that's gonna be opening the path. If 2, we retract to accumulate more strength. Now we go forward. Now 3, always go forward. Doesn't matter the obstacle. It's always an attempt to surpass the obstacle. Even if you have to diverge. So just like, like when you have the delta of a river that makes them, turns different directions. So that's a good representation of the now sheep, the now 3. And now Aq'ab'al is the now of the clarity. Is the first rays of sun that starts illuminating what is in the dark. Just like when you don't have much clarity about something, so you go with the light to to clarify stuff. Being practical, just like when we are going to study to learn more about a subject, we are clarifying that for us. For example, if you are already working like in a project that you are doing, but maybe you can go deeper, to clarify, maybe, just to have more skills, to have more knowledge that you can use in your favor. So that's Aq'ab'al. That's what we talk about, this clarity of Aq'ab'al. Aq'ab'al is a very demanding now. It's a now that demands perfection. It's a now that's kind of it's kind of hard to negotiate with Aq'ab'al. So that can be tricky because we need to open the path, but if we start being too much perfectionist, like we won't be able, to surpass the obstacle, to overcome the obstacle. So the good thing about Aq'ab'al is just to keep the flow going. It doesn't have to be perfect. Maybe we're gonna be aligning, concentrating the flow as the Trecena goes, but the important thing is just to keep going. So Oshib Aq'ab'al is there to open the path for the clarity, open the path for the light of knowledge that you're going to be having to do for having your ideas. But just be aware that you may be diverging to many different ideas. So try to keep the flow. Remember the flow that we started in Imox, one water. So try to bear that in mind. Remember the things you calculated in Kame, 2 wind, so you can continue the flow. So you won't be diverging to many different things. Oh, I want to learn this and I want to learn that. So, because at the end you ended up wanting to learn so many things, but you won't be able to complete them all. So that's what we want to avoid. We need to open the path so we can keep the flow going, the Trecena, and avoid having to do so many changes, because that and letting things all incomplete in the accumulation. And then we're gonna move to Kahib Kat, for burning into ashes. Now 4 is the now when after the water that opens the path is gonna be finding maybe a hole where it's gonna be forming like a pool of water, or where the water is gonna be stationary for a little bit until it accumulates more volume and overflows. Just like when the water is stuck in a well and needs to wait for the water from the rains, until it gets more volume than you can use, or when the water is stuck in the dam, so maybe has no movement. So that's the representation of the now 4 when you stop. And now Kat, burning into ashes, we refer to the descending fire, the fire that is already consuming all the fuel and is just keeping the heat over there. It's going to be burning into ashes. That's a metaphor that we use to say when we are using our energies, we are sacrificing for giving life to the other, to help the other. You have a friend who is in need to do something, so you're going to stop what you are doing to help them. So that's a noble thing to do. But if we ended up just like messing up our stuff, like stuff that's going to be keeps us strong, we won't be able to help them even further. So we need to measure very well how much energy we're going to be devoting to help other people or to sustain many different ideas. Because now Kat is also connected to the bag that we carry our materials that we use to work on our projects, to sustain our business, to sustain our personal lives. So we won't it's bad if we accumulate too much weight in the bag, that you need to carry all the time. We can end up losing energy with that, ended up being burned out. And that's what you want to avoid on that. So cuts can be days where you can free your bag with the stuff that you don't need. Just like after we open the path with the clarity, so maybe too many different ideas where we want to explore to obtain knowledge. So Kahib Kat is a day to stop and see the stuff that you can actually work, to remove the stuff that is not necessary. Maybe they are necessary, but maybe not right now. Maybe you can postpone them for later. So you can stabilize the tasks that you gotta do. There is more priority, that you keep you constant with the stuff that you gotta do, so you can make the sun shine again. So you can complete your stuff. So you ended up not wasting your energy in stuff that is not needed, because otherwise you're gonna be stuck, burned out, and at the end, an accumulation of the Trecena, you think, okay, I don't want to continue that, I'd like to move, because you didn't have a good management. That's why it's so important that we calculate the path in the now 2, that we keep the flow just like in the now 1, so we won't end up doing that. Of course, in the Trecena, not always, it can go according to the plan. Things can go sideways. Maybe we are asked to do stuff that were out of our control and then we need to stop. Things can happen. But the more we are aware of the stuff that we gotta do, the less likely we are, just to get caught or just to interrupt the stuff that we gotta do because of this stuff. And then we're gonna move to Hob Khan, 5 Stellar Serpent. Now 5 Khan is one of the most strong, maybe it's the most strongest. It's the most strong now from all the 260, because we are talking about 2 masculine aggressive Nawals. Now 5, as I always repeat here in the Trecena analysis, can be the strongest now of all of them, because it represents the water that overflows. But it's gonna be rough, it's not gonna be gentle like now 3 that is forward. But now 5 is just like you cannot avoid that. So you just get caught up with that, you just flow and you are taken to whatever it goes. And now Khan is the now of the intervention. Kaan is this, in Quiche, represents the sound of the thunder. In nature, the sound of the thunder represents that the weather is going to be changing. So there is going to be a change in nature, just like from the dry season for the wet season, that is announcing the rain to keep things in balance again. So it's an intervention in nature. And that's what Naukan is going to be talking about. It's going to be talking about this intervention that we got to do. It is also the connection with the snake, like when we talk about the stellar serpent, because of the shape of the thunder. It looks like a snake that falls from the sky and hits the earth. But you just listen to the sound. Maybe you're not seeing that. I don't know if any of you have been to the wilderness, where whenever you're walking, you need to pay attention, in the floor, because the snakes can camouflage themselves and you can end up getting a bite. So Khan talks about the enemy. It could be an enemy, like could be yourself, like the stuff that you're not doing correctly that is gonna mess up, like the way you are taking or leading the stuff that you gotta do. But can also be, people around you that is quiet over there, maybe, doing some stuff that will take you away from your path, or maybe dismotivate you, from the stuff that you're doing. So can represent dangerous stuff that you just got taken. That's why, maybe now Hopcon can take you away from your path, can put you into this bitter mode of the now 13 transformation can bring. So it's a now to be careful. But if you like to use the now Hopcon in the bright side, it can be a day where it can give you 110% of your energy just to flow with some stuff. If you feel that you need to, you are just procrastinating to do some stuff, or you just feel lazy because the tasks that you gotta do are boring, but they are necessary to do, you can use Kame. Okay, oh, today I'm gonna be doing that. I'm gonna be putting more energy. So you're gonna be putting more fury into that. So you just go straight with that. You're gonna overflow with that to intervene, so you won't end up to the accumulation of incompleteness. So that's one of the steps that we gotta do in Kame. Can be a day if you need to do an intervention, okay, you need to make a choice, like a rough choice. You can use Hub Kame to do that. And then we're gonna move to Aq'ab'al, Kame, 6 death or 6 ancestors. I think I cannot talk about this death, word here because YouTube, doesn't like to hear that. So we're gonna be calling that the 6 ancestors. Now 6, we talk about the heart of the Trecena. In nature, now 6 represents the dry caves. There are like the ears of the earth, where you need to listen, you need to ponder, you need to put things into perspective to make a choice. So right now we are already in the 6th day of the Trecena. You may be seeing where things are leading to, what Oshilahua 13 transformation is pushing the Trecena. So now you can ponder that. Okay, if you are going into the direction that you want, if you are doing the right decisions. And so it's a day for you to ponder everything, just put everything into consideration. It doesn't necessarily mean that you need to make a decision, but it could be a day where you can just evaluate everything that you are doing. And now Kame is the most feminine of all the Nawals, the most sensitive of all the Nawals. We talk about the ancestors, the spirit of the dead ancestors that are floating with the wind. Just like where we can find that in the singing of the birds, in the breezes of the wind when we go for a walk in nature. And that you just feel, like the breeze that puts you in the present moment. That kind of gently pushes you forward. Like the loving mother sensation. Someone is wishing you well, so you don't feel left out. So that's one of the aspects of now Kame. You feel that kind of support. And now Kame is very fragile because, as this Trecena talks about this bitter side, like this cold sides, you talk about emotional things, emotional can, drags us, can just makes us stop believing in ourselves. So we need to find a way just to keep moving forward. If maybe we don't have the support of other people, maybe we need to call the support of the ancestors. Is a way to talk to the wind. I haven't talked about the Mayan principles. I'm gonna be doing a live soon to talk about the Maya principles, so we can understand how this flow works. But everything is alive. Everything has a way of communication. So we need to create the habits of talking to the wind, to summon the presence of the ancestors to help us guidance forward. Even if we don't have the support of the people around us, we can ask the wind for the support of the ancestors, to ask a direction, to ask a way to help you to decide where you gotta go, what's gonna be the most favorite path for you to walk. So 6 ancestors is the day where you need to ponder this emotional aspect, so you won't get frustrated. Because every time we get frustrated about something that we feel left out, we ended up giving up of the stuff that we are doing. And that's what can accumulate like you don't believe in yourself, like you surrender to these aspects because you cannot complete, you cannot transform. So you ended up being bitter, you ended up being cynical with life. So the heart of the Trecena can be these dramas that we need to go through in this Trecena. So we need to watch out. So that's why it's a good day for you to ponder. It's not a good day to make a decision, but just make sure you are considering everything. Are you feeling well emotionally? You feel supported? It could be a good day. Maybe you say, okay, it's lacking support. Just go and summon the ancestors. Talk to the wind. Even though it will be sounding crazy for everybody, or you just go for yourself, just summon them. Maybe you're gonna have more stability with that. Maybe you're gonna receive something that you're gonna put you directly into the flow that we started. So always keep in mind all the days of the Trecena. As we started with the flow, remember the flow that we started. Just try to keep that as a way for you to do not lose your path, to not lose your focus. And then after 6 Kame, we go to Aq'ab'al, 7 deer. Now 7 is the climax of the Trecena. Represents the hot water, just like the lava of the volcano. So it's the most intense part. In Aq'ab'al, we talk about the altar. We talk about stability, spiritual strength. The altar is the place where we do the communication with the spiritual world, where we do our offerings, where we try to make things into balance. So the altar is the representation of the deer, because of the 4 legs. It represents that you are in balance. So you are fixed, so you are more grounded. So as we were talking about the ancestors, so now Aq'ab'al is when you can do the communication. You can offer something to them into your altar, maybe a candle, a glass of water. You can offer your words. You can offer like a singing, whatever you have, to honor the ancestors, maybe to put you into more spiritual, putting you in balance spiritually again. And remember that we started with the flow. So Aq'ab'al, as the most intense part of the Trecena, is where you need to stabilize that flow. So you're gonna keep, constant. That you're gonna be overcoming, these gray aspects of now. Even though like it's boring, oh, I need to do that, But if you are grounded, like if you're spiritually balanced, you won't think about that. You're just gonna be doing what is necessary, what you have to do. So that's the most important thing in Aq'ab'al. So we're gonna be stabilizing that. Maybe if you don't feel stable, so try to ground yourself spiritually. Just try to go there and or if you don't have the connection with the altar, just go for a walk in nature. Just try to find your balance over there, because that's gonna be the key point. Maybe the secret of going well with this Trecena is how we stabilize the stuff. This is the emotional aspect, these traumas that we just saw in the Trecena. Because otherwise you're gonna end up being stuck, reluctant, just like the now Aq'ab'al talks about when you don't move. So if you stop the flow, of course you like to change, you're gonna give up, and that's what we want to avoid in this Trecena. And then after 7 deer, we go to Aq'ab'al. That's gonna be the second part of the Trecena, is where everything restarts. We already seen where the Trecena is going, so now we just need to see where it's going to accumulate. So now 8 is gonna be the return. So we started with Imox, 1 water to fix the flow. Now we just need to keep that, just to continue with the pattern, with the things that are working. So now it's restarting with Kame. Kame is the potential of something to germinate. So if you want to keep the potential of things to bring you abundance, for you to keep prospering into the stuff that you're doing, you need to be constantly watering the seed. The seed needs that complement, which is the water. So even though like you need to do all the time, otherwise the plant's gonna die, it is necessary. You need to be doing that all over and over again. So you need to repeat the pattern. So that's why it's important that when we come back, we know how to pattern. We need to water our projects, or we need to feed. Maybe if you work with social media, you need to keep posting. Maybe if you work every day, you need to make like a pattern so you can continue going on, can continue bringing your the abundance. So it's going to be the return of the complementary actions that you gotta do to continue bringing your abundance, to continue going on, to continue transforming. Otherwise, things are going to rotten if you stop. That's why, remember, this is the Trecena of being constant with the stuff that we are doing. And then we're gonna move to Belaer Toch, 9 fire. This is another now that talks about the fire. Now Toch. If Kat, we talk about the descending fire. Now Toch is the ascending fire, where you need to put the fuel where so the fire can go up. So we're gonna be talking about the sacrifices that we do to be in power, the sacrifice that we do to rule over something. And now 9, we talk about what is hidden from sight, what is the occult. Like you don't see that happening over there. In the beginning of the Trecena, we went through the now 2 yek to wind, is the wind. So the wind is one of the necessary things for the fire go up. The fire needs the wind to consume the wood that we put in there, so it can continue go up. But Toch talks about also the sacrifices, the things that are going to cost us, but our health. So if we do not pay attention for the sacrifices, like the choices that we are doing, we may be ended up paying with our health later on. So we're going to be talking about the gestation of a sacrifice we are not even aware, like they are gestating. Because every single choice that we do, we open a branch of many different possibilities. Maybe we don't know like the price of them, like of walking this path, for a certain amount of time, but it's already gestating, the sacrifice that maybe you're going to be paying later on, maybe 20 days later, maybe 260 days later, whatever. So there is always a price that is going to be collecting that. So that's the tricky thing with Belaer Toch. It's going to be talking about the price that you're not seeing, but you're already walking the path towards that direction. Maybe you could be burned by this fire. So, but the more you are aware of where you're walking, the more you're aware about the possibilities where everything everything could go, the better you can, make the right decisions. If you can, like if that's the sacrifice and you are willing to make, so you will avoid, just getting burned by the fire. So you maybe can talk about, maybe the energy that you need to burn, just to continue, handling these boring tasks that you gotta deal with in this Trecena. It's about when you give like our vital energy, our blood to achieve something for us. Remember, it's boring, but after we overcome this boring stuff, like these uncomfortable sensations, we're gonna receive the reward. So it's just like the portal that we need to cross, in order to get that. And even if we choose, the things that we consider being easy, there's always gonna be something that's gonna be a little bit challenging at the same time. And then we're gonna move to Laur Tz'i, 10 dog. Now 10 is the convergence. Is where, just like when many rivers meet in one single place. Just like in the now 3, you talk about the divergence, where you go to many different places, like the delta of the river. So now 10 is just like the lake, where many sources of water meet in one single place. We can make an association just like the airport, where you see people coming and going. Now 10 is related to all of this, where people can come and go, where you can, feed, but you also feed yourself, but you can also use to help the others. So we can talk about collaborating with others, getting the help of the others, converging for you to know where you're going, for you to collect something from that. And now Tz'i, now the dog, we talk about the loyalty, we talk about friendship, we talk about emotions more precisely. But emotions is not something that you can fully control them. Just like using the metaphor of the dog is our best friend, is the one that's gonna be loyal to us. But even these loyal ones, whenever you are feeding them, if you try to play with his food, maybe by instinct he's going to bite you. He's gonna forget you are his owner. He's gonna forget you are his friends. So he's gonna betray you. So because of the instinct, because he's not thinking straight, so he's following his instincts. And that's when you talk about the authority that bites, where we can be corrupted by our emotions. We talk about in Tz'i, emotional confusion. You are doing stuff, but you don't know what you are doing. You are converging just madness. And just like if we start with the madness in Imox, so that can be more confused in Tz'i. So that's emotions, as we are talking here, as we spoke in Kame as well, can be what can make you give up of the stuff that you're doing. You stop being constant with the things that you're doing. Like we stop the transformation, can become cynical. So we need to be aware of what kind of emotions we are converging. That's why we need to be careful with the stuff we are consuming in this Trecena. We need to remember to keep the flow stabilized. Remember, even if the now 7K has passed, remember, if you feel unstable, go for a walk in nature. Maybe it could be a day for you to reach your loyal ones, to talk to them, maybe to unload the emotions that you're feeling, like your insecurities. So can you go back and face the stuff that you gotta face to continue transforming what you gotta do? So Tz'i talks about this convergence of emotions that we need to be careful to not be betrayed by our own instincts. Because maybe if we give up, we can create a habit of every time things gets into these great sensations, these uncomfortable sensations, we're gonna be giving up. It doesn't matter how many projects we enter. So the more we learn to surpass this barrier of emotions, to deal with them, just to handle them better, the better for us, for life. Not just for this Trecena, but the more we go, the more we're going to be learning how to surpass that. And then we're going to be gathering more abundance. So it's going to be easier to overcome these sensations of And then we're going to move to Aq'ab'al, 11 monkey or 11 thread. Now 11 is an owl that's going to spread. It's the 10 converge, 11 is going to spread or dilute something. If you're talking about in the 10, the emotions, 11 is going to be when you can release them. So you can solve them. And our bats can talk about connecting the dots, solving problems, it's creativity, it's putting things into action. But creativity more about resolving some stuff. So you gotta have an idea just to get out of a situation. In the beginning of the Trecena, we spoke about Kahib Kat, the 4 burning into ashes. When you accumulate many stuff in your bag or many ideas that we gotta work. So maybe Aq'ab'al, 11 thread, we need to solve the knots, dilute the stuff that are not keeping us from move forward, to keep constant with the stuff we gotta do. So it can be a day that we can release the emotions, like the chaos that we enter in the Tz'i. So it's a day, just to fix stuff, to solve the problems, to avoid you to implode. If you don't solve them, we are not able to release that. We're going to be accumulating more pressure, and then we're going to end up imploding, getting more frustrated in the Trecena. So 11 bats is a day, that you're going to be working with. You can connect the dots, the things that are not working. Okay, I got entangled in here. So you go there and untie the knot. So that's the things that can be good to do in Aq'ab'al. And then we're going to move to Aq'ab'al 12 pathfinder. Now 12 is an hour of the unexpected. It's the hidden balance of the Trecena, where we need to level up the stuff that we got to do. Maybe it's the last step of the Trecena before it gets accumulated, and then you cannot do anything about it anymore. So we talk about, what comes and you don't see. Remember, we talk about the now 9, that is the occult, or is hidden from sight. Maybe 12 is when that appears in front of you very big. Like a good example of now 12, for example, you are taking a walk in your garden, and then you're drinking water, but then it just left like some water, hit the floor. So maybe later you go back, there is a plant already going on, but you haven't seen that. That just appears in front of you as a surprise. So that is the 12 effect, what you can see. So is the hidden balance of the stuff that you did and you didn't pay attention to. Most of the time can be the positive aspects. For example, what comes extra, if the now 5 is the one that overflows, you have no control, it can cause destruction. Maybe the hidden balance, for example, when the dam breaks, it's going to destroy the city, it's going to destroy everything. But then the 12 nature is, you're going to be having like the forest growing back again. So that can be, like the nature coming back to balance, or giving something extra to you. And now E is now the pathfinder, is now of finding a purpose or giving a meaning into something, or just to keep progressing into something. So if in the beginning of the Trecena and the Hob Con, you had to do a rough intervention, like was the day that you apply 110% of the stuff you're gonna do just to change a scenario, then 12A, you're gonna be seeing like a path that you did not expect it, like you're gonna be seeing like an extra progress on that, because you just kept moving forward. And that's what you need to be doing to be constant in this Trecena. We need to keep moving forward. So because the path over there that we are not seeing over there, maybe we cannot imagine, is going to be following along. Everything, a single thing that we're doing right now is going to be also compensating over there. Is the 12 effect. So maybe you ended up finding, if you got messed up, you start anew. Maybe the 12 pathfinder is where you find a new meaning, where you want to dedicate yourself in life. You build a new purpose for something. Is where you can really find the establishment of the path that we saw in Ker, in the deer. So that's the 12th pathfinder. Otherwise, if you analyze the cold side, can be when we are with extra melancholies, because we cannot advance, because we fell with, like we fail to deal with our emotions. Because the emotions sometimes can be lead us to be reluctant, just like Ker spoke about, to move. And when we are reluctant, you keep holding the melancholies of the stuff that you lost, you don't make any progress. Of course, sometimes we can take a day or two, just to reestablish ourselves if we messed up in some stuff. But you always need to continue move forward, because life won't wait for us. So the better we keep moving forward, the better are going to be the results on Aq'ab'al E, the 12th pathfinder. And then we move to the final day of the Trecena and the ruler Oshlahu Ker, 13 transformation. Now 13 is the biggest, the oldest, what is transcending everything. It can be represented by the volcanoes, like the old entities of the planet, or you can associate them with the sea, like the big amount of water, and where everything is gonna be accumulated in that place, where what is pushing things since that where the flow started. That is a thing that it doesn't, in my academy we don't talk about fate, like stuff that is reading that you're going to be talking about, even though time is pushing forward. Instead of fate, we talk about things having a destination. Everything that we're starting right now, if you continue doing that, it's maybe already, already where you're going to be getting. Just like every spring, already have a destination. Maybe it's going to be stopping, in a pool of water. Maybe it's going to be finding a river to find a bigger flow with that. Maybe it's going to arrive into the ocean. So we talk about this destination. So, and the destination here is just to keep constant with the things that can be, sometimes uncomfortable to deal with. Just like as I mentioned, the past Trecena that we spoke about, the big battle to make things shine, to bring the glow. So after we win the battle, like we bring the victory, like we have our moments to celebrate that, but then, we need to continue on, like life is not going to stop over there. If you reach the mountain that you aim to go, there is always going to be another mountain that you have to climb down and then go to another one and climb back up again, just to go to that hard process all over again. And that's the aspect of life, and that's what really is going to shapes us. It's going to determine like how we're going to be maturing in this life. So even though like it's uncomfortable, it's something that is necessary to learn. Maybe one of the most important things that we can learn in life to succeed into things, to learn this aspect that we need to constantly be transforming. And so that's what we're going to be talking about in this now, these aspects, like all of this flow that you got to keep, just to be constant. It's okay if you got to change over there. It's okay if we realize, no, that's not the path that we like to walk. So maybe we lost the purpose. It doesn't make sense anymore. So we need to find new purposes. But every single new purpose is always going to be passing through the same process of transformation. Maybe it's going to be requiring doing different tasks, or just like you're just going to be meeting people, the same people, but with different masks, because Nawah is also connected to this being the master of disguises. When you are exposed and you cannot face, handle those people anymore. So you have to change. You need to change your attitude. You need to change your behavior to fit in again. Or maybe you just realize, oh, I don't like this anymore. So you need to find something else. That's the changes that the Nawah needs to go. So we need to go of this process of relearning where we like to go or what is needed to do. And that's what we're going to be talking about in this Trecena, in this Oshlahu Trecena. Before we enter into the next Trecena, that is going to be the Trecena of the 13 ancestors. That is going to be talking about this more like this darker emotional aspects. But first we need to go through this Trecena of transformation, finding like the ultimate balance to continue and keep constant with this stuff. That's going to help us a lot in the next Trecena. And that's it. So if you have any questions, I'm going to be reading here. Now we can chat. Hey Douglas, nice to see you back here, my friend. Yeah, I know sometimes YouTube, doesn't send the notifications. I don't know if you follow me on Instagram. Like I put out the countdown, at least to, try to send notifications to most people that I can, to let them know that I'm going to be live in here. But it's good to see you here. Yeah, Marcos was confusing the calendar, but it's all right. Hello, Rodrigo. Hello, Tata Jose. So, do you have any questions about the Trecena? Oh, good. Oh, good that you had this notification. Oh, thank you, Gloria. It's okay. The live is gonna be saved, so you can rewatch it. I'm gonna be starting, just cutting the Trecena and keep posting on Instagram, so you can follow daily, so you won't have to come back all the time and find. Anyways, in here I'm always going to be saving by chapters to help you navigate it in here if you want to, because I know some people prefer the Instagram, some people prefer watching here on YouTube. and I'm just trying to, make it easy for everybody. My boyfriend is now addicted to your videos and just in the readings too. Oh, nice. I hope he is having a good time. It's being easy to follow. Because the stuff with the calendar, like we don't have to rush. Like the more we go, just following the Trecenas, just knowing the now of the day, it's already enough for us to start seeing the calendar. We don't need just to go crazy and start wanting to learn all the cycles and everything. That's you only gonna bring you confusion. But the easier you walk this path, the more the calendar is gonna be open up for yourself. You're gonna be, understanding your own patterns of behavior, like the way you deal with this stuff. So that's the magic of the calendar. Just let things flow, let the universe present itself for you. It's about paying attention. It's very, very simple. He's saying he's going to work out one-on-one. Oh, good. So you can go to my website. I'll be more than happy. What do you think? What do you think about cacao ceremonies? Cacao ceremonies are great, especially for emotional stuff. Like it's a way that you can melt your heart. Maybe if you feel imbalanced, it can be a very good ceremony, to work in this Trecena. If you feel like you're just being driven by these heavy aspects of the emotional things, that is gonna keep you constant. It's gonna keep you, wanting to avoid some stuff. It can be something that can be used to balance. But remember, every ceremony, every medicine can also be a drug. It's all about the dosage that you use. As in this Trecena, we can use, like for example, Imox, how much injection of force that we're gonna be using. So cacao is gonna be a liquid that you're gonna be drinking. So if you know how to measure, it can be great for the following the ceremony. To clarify, days are sunset to sunset. Yes, Douglas, it's not like a fixed rule. I have a video talking about when the days in the Maya calendar really starts, because depends of the nature of each novel. But as a general rule, if you like to see, you can consider only sunsets. It's about light and darkness. The calendar it talks about that. It's amount of light and darkness. It's the masculine and the feminine. So whenever the sun sets, the now that was during the day goes rest with it, and the other one starts to rising. So it goes to the feminine realm, like the dark. So it starts gestating until it grows into the light again. So it's going to be more direct. But it is. It's a good way to express like that, sunset to sunset. You guys have any more questions? Was it easy to follow? By the way, Douglas, I know you live in Guatemala. Have you participated already in some ceremonies over there? As I have been working the days this way for quite a while, and for me, it helps me balance my time and energy. Awesome. I'm glad being able to help you with this. Because yeah, since like I've been learning the calendar for 7 years right now with Tata Papiantel, and it's been a life changing for me. Also helped me me, to balance the stuff, just to pay attention to what I'm going through. Because sometimes my mind just keeps, oh, you need to do this, need to do that. And I ended up overlooking, what is really going on. So it's a way to help me to understand that everything has life, everything is connected, everything has a way of communication. And talking about that, I'm gonna be doing another live in this Trecena. So to be able to be more constant, talking about constancy as a Trecena, because I don't have my computer where I can edit the videos. So I'm gonna be doing another live to talk about the Maya principles to help you reinforce, how the novels work, to have these fundamental perspectives of how to observe time. Because I know sometimes at the beginning when we start following the calendar, it's so easy to follow for like what sounds like astrological aspects. Oh, this is a good day for doing that, and this is a bad day for doing that. But it's not actually that way. It's just like when you have a meeting with someone important over there, he's your boss in that day. So you need to know how to talk to the boss. You need to know how it works. So it's always a matter of how you follow that. No, I live in the States now. Only Pueblo Hopi ceremonies. Oh, good. Mom lives in Guatemala. I want to visit this year. Meet more Mayan friends. I have that. Oh, awesome. That's awesome. Yeah, every type of ceremonies are good. Just like I am in Brazil. In here, like I'm so close to the Guarani people and the Runiquim people that are famous for ayahuasca ceremonies. Even though I follow the calendar, I always go for ceremonies with them that help me balance, help me to unleash the stress. So every type of ceremony is worth it. So it's good that even though you are in States right now, you have, a place where you can go for ceremonies. So guys, we have an hour and 10 of live here. It's 11 o'clock p.m. here in Brazil. I think I'm gonna wrap the live right now. If you have any questions before I close. What do you think? This time of doing the live, like 8 p.m. EST, are good. Is good for your time zone. The counter Kuleo Nawo is, like, in summary, is an external consciousness, the conscious that is not kind of related to the day. It's something that comes extra. It's not exactly connected to the day. It's something that you face constantly in your life. But I can take a day, just to talk more about that, because that can be extensive to summarize in here. But in summary, just consider that as an external consciousness, an external now that keeps coming back to your life and bringing you challenges. Maybe it's going to be something that can shape you. It's the challenges that are going to be shaping you in life, in reality. Oh, 7 p.m. California. Oh, good. Yeah, Jose, I will see the time. Yeah, if this time is good, great. Because for me, I can adapt to the time to make the best time that is good for use. I have a very weird sleeping pattern, so I can adapt easily. Because I know many people are from different places, so I'm trying to find the... Oh, great. Yeah, that's good. So, okay, lads, was good, having you again, for this Trecena analysis. I'm glad to help you, to guide at least a little bit of use in there. And if you need anything, if you are looking for consultations, you can go to my website. If you have any questions, you can go to my Instagram as well and send me a DM over there. I'm always happy to help. I'm wishing you now a great Trecena ahead, and see you all in my next live. Maybe in Aq'ab'al, 7th year, to talk about the Maya principles. That's a very interesting topic to talk about. So wishing you all great Trecena, and bye bye, guys.